Yeah. So I was reading this. It's called Habits of the Household, and I
Nice.
was listening to it, and
I'm gonna write that down.
it
Habits of the
was
household.
yes, and it was talking about oh see, I lost my thought again. What were we just talking about? You just said something.
Dad
Dad
vision.
vision.
Early
Oh yeah,
morning.
yeah, yeah. And he said, he was talking about making a habit stick, making it a normal thing,
Mhm.
and it always feels weird. And so a lot of people stop at this point where they're like, "Well, this feels weird. This isn't me." Well, that's because you haven't been doing it for years. So as soon as
Yes,
you continue to do that, then that becomes a habit, and that becomes your identity.
exactly. And I
So
was listening off of I don't know if it was a podcast or maybe it was one of the guys I follow on social, but just along the same line is that weird feeling. That's the trigger to follow, right?
mm, mm,
So that like I think the topic was around how do you know if you're on the right path, right? Living the right path, doing the right thing as a parent, as a partner. And it's about feeling what it feels like to be off that. You know what it feels like to be off, right? Like this is just not right, stuff like that. So when you don't feel that, that's the trigger that you are on the right path, that you are doing the right thing. So I think it's exactly like what you said, like, with parenting, with anything, it's like, man, this feels hard. Yes, that's because it's not what you normally do. And if you just keep watering that seed, see, most people stop watering that seed before it breaks ground. That's
yep.
where community comes in. That's where coaching, accountability comes in. That's where friends, inner circles come in, because they'll make sure you're picking up that water pail and keep watering it because they know how important this seed is to you. They know how important this goal is. Whereas a lot of times, and I know I have plenty of stories, I know you have plenty of stories where you go solo and you're like, yeah, that doesn't work. But why is it working for everybody else? Yeah, that just doesn't work for me. Well, that's not entirely true, right?
Yeah.
It just may, and man, there's another IG live that I talked about. It was a great topic. And the funny thing is, one of the reasons I'm doing IG live is muscle memory. And it's kind of
Mm,
what we're talking about right now is the reason I do it. It feels uncomfortable. Don't like doing it. But the more I do it, the less fear that comes up, the less anxiety, and the better you get. You see, everything that you want to get better at is a reps game, right? The
mm-hmm.
thousandth rep is going to be better than the first rep. But most people, we live in a culture of comfort, right? So I want to be comfortable, and this is not comfortable. So the reason I'm doing so many reps on IG, it's also been a great way for me to journal, right? To talk about subject matters that I'm like, hey, I didn't really think that was bugging me, but man, now that I've actually talked it out and I've wrote stuff out, I'm like, oh, took care of that seed. Didn't know that was bothering me for so long. So one of those things that I recently talked about, and it goes in line with what we're saying, is the idea of kind of perfectionism, right? And the reason why, as dads, and this goes on completionism, so I'm going to bring it up during that topic, is where did we get this perfectionism from? Why do we need to be perfect creatures or perfect dad or perfect spouses? And what is perfect? But yeah, that there's the great talk. Don't know the key topics I was going to tell you about that, but I will swing back later to that.
Well, let me tell you, you're doing great on the IG lives. You are a
Thank
natural,
you.
and I'm loving it.
Thank you, sir.
But see, this is why I love that we're doing this podcast, because what that's all it is. I mean, really, it's just all selfish. It's just all for me, really. Forget
Mhm.
all the other dads out there. Just
Dude,
kidding,
any
not
of the
true.
stuff we do.
But it's gonna help. It's gonna help these things stick, and it's gonna make me hungry for more, material that's beneficial to my time rather than the
Exactly.
doom scrolling, right? Like I feel like right
Yes.
now everything this was my shower thought for this morning, because there's
I
always a
like it.
shower
Shower
thought when
thoughts.
I'm in
That's
there.
that's going
Yes,
to be
shower thoughts
we
with
we got to
Travis.
we like Jack Handy from SNL, right? Shower thoughts with
Yeah,
Travis.
yeah.
I like it.
So that was it, because I'm thinking, I'm like, most of the time for me, it feels like it's in one ear and out the other.
Mhm.
But I needed to be more like, I was like, oh, it's like coffee, it's like I've
Mhm.
put a coffee filter in my brain, and then all that's going in, and just good stuff is coming out from it. That's what this
I like
podcast
that.
is for me, rather than no podcast. And it's more like a neti pot, if you know those things. You
Gotcha.
pour it in your
Oh
nose,
yeah,
and just a
I
bunch of
use
junk
one.
comes out.
I oh yeah,
Yeah,
I use one.
I can't get on that train. But we're going from a neti
the
pot to a
gag
coffee
the
pot.
gag
This
reflex is
is
strong, my friend.
ugh, no, thank you.
Yeah. It's amazing the
Anywho,
anatomy of the nose. But no, like I agree. And not only that, talk about like, and I don't know if you've seen it on social recently, but like when I'm doom scrolling or like I'm scrolling on the in the bathroom breaks to for content research, there's stuff that comes
Yeah.
up. It's like don't doom scroll, learn. And I agree with that concept. And so the great thing about this podcast is now think about it. When we come up with the topics we want, we're naturally going to have what I call the VW effect. So about 10 years ago, Mo wanted a VW bug for reasons unknown to this day. But
Hey, no, those are
what
cool.
but what happens is every car that I could recall seeing during the day was a VW bug, right?
Yep.
So it's about where we put our attention. I mean, there's research that shows that our brain, our eyes, which is an extension of the muscle of the brain, can only consume so much information. So when you have top of mind as far as VW bug, it's going to naturally pick up the VW bugs in your sightline. Whereas if you're thinking about
Yep.
something else, it won't, right? And that's why, because our brains would totally shut down if it could literally consume every piece of info coming in. So it's a
Yeah.
self-preservation tool. So the reason I
Yeah.
bring that up is now that we're on this path of us, you and me, working to be better partners and parents and people, right? We're working on that. So we're naturally going to research, read, and bring up stuff during this podcast that supports that. So the cool thing is now when the opportunity comes up to be like, I kind of wanna, I'm gonna be like, wait a
Yeah.
second. I just bought a book from Amazon that I want to read a couple chapters before this Friday's chat, right? Or even if I go on this, you know what? Let me look up the hashtag dad stress, right? Because we're going to talk about it on Friday. And so naturally, your filter is going to start opening up to things that are going to push you forward versus things that are literally a waste of time. Now, that's not a bad
Yep.
thing. Again, we've talked about this. Wasting time is a good thing as long as it's scheduled wasting time and not taking over
Yeah.
for something like today. Guilty. I know she's in the next room. I'm going to whisper this into the mic. I totally was late picking up Emma.
Oh
So
my gosh.
yeah, and I
Shoot.
set the wrong alarm on my phone. And so what happened was I'm sitting here, right, working away, and a face comes up on the phone. You know, when someone you have a contact
Yeah.
photo,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it
Uh
was her, and I was just like,
huh.
I knew, I already knew. And so I'm like ripping my phone off the charger, beelining it so that when I pick up, it sounds like I'm in the car, like I'm on the way, right?
Yeah.
But she
Yeah.
knows.
Yeah.
And so yeah,
Yeah.
so that's what happened today.
Do you guys share your location, on your phone? So it's like
Oh
whenever
yeah,
you're
yeah,
like, where are you? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah.
feel like some
She knows.
people only the
She knows.
guilty only like the guilty people or who are doing some shady stuff are worried about that, right? But I I love that tool because
Yeah,
I'm always like, Deb, you got to use it more often. Just check my location. If I didn't text you, just see where my dot's going because
there
that's
you
where I'm
go.
at.
That's what we do when we divide and conquer, or we're like, hey, we're trying to meet up at a certain time. You can have ETAs too, right? You can see how long that
Yes,
person's going to take to get to you. So that's
they
been a
updated
big
it.
scheduling thing. Yep,
For sure.
very
Yeah.
big
Oh,
thing.
it's great. My kids are always like, is mama gonna be home yet? Is she home yet? And I'm like, let me
Yeah,
check.
you can look it up.
Boom.
Hey, 15 minutes away. Yeah,
Yep.
that's what we do too. Awesome.
Technology.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
Second Braden Common Books, right? And
Yes.
I'm thinking about this as a workshop too. I think it'd actually be for dads. I think it'd be a very strong workshop to be able to like not to lose our brains and to have one place for all of our resources or all of the stuff that we're consuming. Like you said, like I want that Folgers filter, that 2.5-inch filter that gets in there and captures all the good stuff. So that
No,
being
don't
said,
say Folgers. Not a Folgers
sorry,
filter. Let's do
I don't
a
know.
Chemex
I
filter.
grew
It's
up
a Chemex
okay.
filter.
It's like,
Yeah,
ooh, I
I
like
know what
that.
you mean.
Chemistry.
I know what you mean. Sorry, you
Yeah.
said coffee stuff, so I had to
Yeah.
intervene.
No,
Go ahead.
hey, I'm a coffee head too. The only reason I said Folgers is to attract the demographics that actually grew up with that commercial of Folgers in your house and
Yes,
like
best
that
time of
stuff
waking up.
is Folgers in your cup. You see, that's the
I
stuff,
was waiting. I
right?
was waiting. I wanted you to finish that.
But so for you, right? Because I know you're man, I'm getting hold on. This is not
Oh,
Magic Mike.
oh,
This is not
the
Magic Mike.
shirt's coming off.
This is it's getting
Things
serious. Not
just
Magic
got
Mike.
real.
No,
Use
but
it in the
I'm
footage.
burning up.
Use it in the preview.
I don't know if
Woo!
it's just because I'm pumped about this or the fact that I have like a 20-foot headlight just beaming into my head. But
It's not that. No,
it's not
couldn't
that
be.
no. So our conversation, and I loved our conversation between okay, one of the tools or one of the systems I use is a second brain. One of the systems I use is a common book. And I know you were really inquisitive of it, but
Yes.
that terminology has been heavily geared towards, at least in recent years, towards using tech, right? Apps, stuff like that. But it
Gotcha.
originated in analog, but it originated literally with people writing it down. So today I just wanted to share a couple tidbits with you so you can start
Yeah.
practicing it. So a common book is literally a journal. It's just a
Yes.
journal. And what I do with my common book is first thing in the day, I just write the date down, right? And then anything that comes to mind. Ooh, that's a good idea. Or don't forget this, right? Or I'm looking up a recipe for lasagna, right? It all goes in here. And this is always on me. And then what I do is at the end of the day, or when there's a block in the day, I have two highlighters, right? I've got a pink and the yellow one. Those are just, ooh, I
Yeah.
didn't even know it does that. That's
It's
kind of
still
cool.
wait, even on this the
I thought that was
streaming
Zoom
thing.
only.
See you. I know that's what I thought. Is it
Oh,
well?
it's the
But
thumb.
it's only you. How come? How come you get that? No, no, no. The two is the balloons. Thumbs up, thumbs down, and I mean, can you do a rock on? Does that work? Nope.
Rock. No. What's the
We'll
rock
have to
hand supposed
figure
to do?
those
Just
out.
do anything? Okay. But
Well,
I don't know. So common book, right? Two
yeah,
highlighters. And so depending on your time, and these are different levels, right? One, it's a catch-all. I'll just blah blah blah, put everything down. If there's a pause where I'm like, I'm reading a book, listening to a podcast, an idea came in, and I'm writing it down, right underneath it, indented, I'll write down in like 10 words or less what that means to me. Like not just like Socrates said this, but like, okay, this means, stop whining about bruised knees or whatever, right? I just put that down.
yeah,
And so when I go back, it's in a language I understand versus I don't know if this ever happened to you. I go like through notes on the notepad and I see something. I'm like, I have no reference. I have no idea what
yeah.
that's
Why did
for.
I write this down?
Why did I
What?
write that down? So by doing that little blurb, it
Yeah,
creates a referent point, right? Like, oh, I'm using this for dinner tomorrow night. Oh, this is for the podcast Friday. Just a quick sentence so that I know a reference point. And then I'll highlight that in one of the highlight colors, yellow,
oh yeah,
right?
oh
And
yeah,
so what happens is yellow for me means where did I get it? Is it a URL? Is it a podcast? What is it for? Right? That's the yellow. And then
yep,
as I'm writing down notes, pink, if I highlight pink, that means to go deeper. Like that's something I want to go down the rabbit hole and spend more time in later. So at the end of the day, end of the week, I'm just like flipping through my book. I'm like, okay, yellow, 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 pink, pink, pink. Those are the
yep.
things that are important to me versus I got to read through this whole dissertation again. Like, no, it's already short form, it's already cut. So that's the easiest explanation I can think of a common book. And then the
Yeah.
next level up is I do it on my phone. And with the
Yep.
recent updates on the notepad, I'll write down notes per day, just like the journal. Like today's literally was today's date. IG copy for the caption, live topics. I keep going on my day, putting stuff in. And then what I'll do is at the very end, I can go back and highlight, bold, italicize, or I put hashtags. And you can search notes based on hashtags now. So what happens
Really?
is, yeah. So as I'm writing notes
Oh.
down, I might say like dad in real life, hashtag dad in real life. So at the end of the week, when I'm thinking about content for this, I just go open notes and type in hashtag dad in real life. It'll pull up the days that I had something in that notepad for that day that has to do with dad in real life. So that's
Yeah.
kind of like the next level up of the common book. Cool.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay.
So I
Yeah, I
think those are
love
two
that.
good
And I
areas
mean,
to kind
you're
of start with.
yeah, totally. You're speaking Deb's love language. She is like misorganized to a T, and like if she heard what you were saying right now, she'd just be like up against the door, like, "Oh yes, keep doing that." Travis, start. Listen to what Rob's saying.
And it's so funny because I have situations like that where it's like, I've been telling you that for the last 3 years.
Oh
You're like,
yes,
no,
oh for
I
sure.
never heard any of it. Like this is the first time it's ever come across my table. But
Yes, yes.
yeah,
Does that happen with you and Mo as much as it does with me? I feel like Deb's always like, yeah, we had this conversation. Why now Rob tells you? Oh, okay.
it's happened so many times that she
Yeah.
doesn't bring it up anymore.
Yes, yes. She just
Right? It's
knows.
like
She just
she's just
knows
like,
you
I'm
gotta
just
hear it.
glad he's doing it. I'm just glad
Yeah.
he's doing it. Gets to that point, right? But yeah,
Yep.
so that's the common book. So give that a try this week, next week, and we'll build into the second brain. I think that's going to be, like I said, I think a common book, second brain combo can be a workshop after the daily journal
Yeah.
workshop, right? Because
Yeah.
you need to be able to do this before I teach you how to put a bunch of content to reference this too, right?
Absolutely.
But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, man.
Dad
Okay.
in real life. Dad in real life.
In real life.
Durl. Durl.
We're getting bumper stickers made.
There's I
Durl.
do this thing with the kids. This is ridiculous, but
Is it the
I do
duck
this thing with
quack?
the kids. Yes,
The duck quack.
but wait, no, but not that one. The you say, well, normally you say girl and you'd say it into like a hole and it comes out funny, but we can say girl instead. You
Girl. Yeah.
if you say girl, the kids love that.
Yeah, we
They
do it all the
love
time,
that.
man.
The
That's
kids
like
love that one.
our that's like our public park call, right? You know, like Autobots assemble.
Yeah.
Like that's when they know 2-minute time. That's the alarm clock. 2 minutes are on.
I want to see that. I want to be there for that. I love that.
I'll shoot some
Sound the
video
trumpet.
next time we go to the park.
Oh man, good times. Okay.
Okay.
Well, this is
So-
gonna be great.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
All right, I am so excited. You got some pizza dough to make.
I do.
And
And you've got some woodworking projects to do, sir. I appreciate
do.
you. I'm excited to kick this off, man. It's gonna be so much fun. So much fun.
this is I could have never imagined that this was gonna happen, and I'm really pumped on it.
Awesome. Well, enjoy the rest of your
Awesome.
day. I'm off to
All
make
right.
some pizza dough.
You
I'll
too.
see you later.
Ciao.